Well, hello friends again. This is Tom Cash. We're going to do a video today about, and this was my dad's favorite president, and we have more stuff on Ronald Reagan than any other president. So in honor of my dad, I decided to wear one of his favorite Reagan buttons. This thing is huge, the size of my hand. So I decided to wear it today. A little bit of quick history on Ronald Reagan. Started out as an actor, as I think most people know. Did a bunch, I think he did over 50 movies. One time he was married to the actress Jane Wyman and then divorced her, and then later in his years married Nancy. And so he had quite the career in the movie industry. He actually was a Major League Baseball announcer at one time. And then got into politics as the governor of California. He was a rancher, was kind of a cowboy kind of a guy, and was very appealing to most people, a very smooth talker, and the great orator when he would give speeches. So most people could relate to Reagan quite well. When he, after running for governor, then he ran for president with George H.W. Bush as his vice president, and they ran against Jimmy Carter in 1980 and defeated Carter handily in the electoral vote. And I think it was around 8 million difference in the popular vote. So he won handily. Mostly, a big problem with that was the economy during that time frame was really in bad shape. And so Carter historically has not gotten much credit for his economic policies and things that he did. So Reagan became president, ran for a second term, and won his second term, so was in office for 8 years. Interesting fact, there was an attempted assassination on President Reagan, but he survived that and was given credit for a lot of economic policies, brought the country back to where it started to prosper and do quite well during his presidency term. So today what I want to do is just share with you a plethora of political buttons on Ronald Reagan. We have more of those in the collection than anything, so I'll just try to highlight some of them as we do that. So let me come around and grab my camera here, and I'll walk over. I'm down in the man cave today where all the buttons are stored and on the wall. So let me go around and get that, and we'll give you that quick tour of Ronald Reagan. So what I did was simply line them up here on this sofa, and let me scoot in, and we'll just kind of go down the line and bring up some close-ups of some of these buttons. As I said earlier, he was a rancher. He was quite the cowboy, and so that's was really one of Dad's favorite buttons. That's a large button that has Reagan in his hat, and this was at the first inauguration in 1981 on January 20th. Here was also, I think this was from one of the movies where he was a cowboy, showing him wearing his sheriff's badge there as an actual photograph. Then as we move over, here's one that's got, again, the sheriff's badge and the Reagan posse. This one was pretty funny, where someone superimposed his head on a workout physical fit body. I don't know if that's Arnold Schwarzenegger or who that is. Again, all of these are quite interesting. This is funny, Ronnie's Terrors. Reagan, women will do it twice. Here's one, Go the Distance. And, a very charismatic individual. Stay the Course. stay with Reagan. Redheads for Reagan Bush. That's unusual, I thought. Then moving over here, Reagan, the 59-cent candidate. Here's one, Nancy wears red dresses and we get laid off pink slips. So that was an anti-Reagan button. Here's one, an anti-Reagan. I'd rather stick with a Democrat than be stuck with a Reagan Bush. Here's one at that time with the TV show Dallas. I shot JR. I don't know how that got in there. Here's one, anti-Reagan. We want jobs, not cheese. Give the Republicans an early retirement. Here's another one. Please, Mr. President, all I want is a job. Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, Reagan. Reagan Hood dressed up as Robin Hood. This is not the White House. It just smells that way. Reagan is the living end. Here's a caricature. He had a good face for caricatures. The Reagan Bush bears a bitter fruit. I'm a Republican woman and I want my party back. Ronald Reagan is a union-busting SOB. And again, at the convention for the second term, was in Dallas. And that's a Bush-Reagan. Let me move over on these. Again, this is from the original election national convention. This was an anti-Carter button, back to the peanut farm when he ran against Carter. Here was a keychain, Reagan keychain. Don't blame me, I voted for Reagan. Here's from the convention, Dallas, the second term. Dump Carter, showing a dump truck. Now, I'm going to show you something, friends, that is really funny. I don't know where Dad found these things, but he did. He came up with all kinds of things at one time. These are little books of, let me try to get the glare off here, paper dolls. So it's got Ronald and Nancy Reagan. It's a paper doll cutout book. So those are in a case, so I left it there. This is the Reagans leaving the Camp David. This is a cool button with him in his cowboy hat. Here's another one with Reagan and some of his movie roles from the early days. Again, a paper doll and full color cutouts. This particular button, let me hold this up. This is a with a ribbon in Detroit at the convention, a Reagan button. This thing right here was kind of interesting for a lot of people. This was a commemorative coin. This thing is really heavy. I'll put it in my hand so you can see just how this is pretty large. It has a lot of weight to it. I think it's made out of bronze or brass. And then these are some of the other. Let me tip this up here a second so we get this glare going. These are other buttons that are pretty interesting. Here's an elephant with Reagan's picture. This one is really funny. I'll feed your elephant if you'll kiss my ass. So again, feeling super. Go Republican. Again, here's one from the National Convention. Here's one controversial. Was Reagan born in this century? And then I'll hold these up. Again, just more Ronald Reagan buttons. Um, I think if you look at all of these total, we probably have, and again, folks, I've got these in boxes still. I bet I have, I would say close to 1,000 Ronald Reagan buttons. And Dad went far and wide to collect these things, and he had a great time doing it. And we actually have a logbook of what he paid for a lot of these things. And on the back of many of the buttons, in fact, here's one right here. Here's a button. This is showing Reagan, defeat Reagan and high interest. Vote Mondale. So he paid $1 for this button. So what he would do is he would log these things in a book, in a ledger, record them, show what he paid for it, and I've still got that. So that's pretty interesting to have. Now, in my opinion, these buttons today, if I averaged them, we have at least 10,000 buttons in the collection, and I would say they're valued anywhere from $2 to $3 to one button's worth probably close to $1,000 from 1900. So it's quite a collection. We have fun with it. I'm happy to share all of this with my friends. And even if you're not my friend, you could be. But I'm happy to share it. It doesn't do anybody any good sitting here in my man cave basement unless people see it. And so take care. Hope you enjoyed this. God bless.